Okay, abusia. Yebe mo bibia kwa. Bana abusia. Lawyer Oliver Baka vo mawo. Abusia papa no e de nsem bi aba betu dwawama. Fear and panic etime agrepo. NPP criminals. Meka NPP criminals a hwa mo na meka cheseken ofowiata kwabena edubua hen. Cecilia Dapamo chairman wuntum abusia. Serious fear and panic etime agrepo dan Akuffo we na Oliver Baka vomawo kasafa plea bargain abusia yenyanti yese Attorney General Dominic Ayini ene sam NPP criminals bi no papa no de enhwemu aba wotwe se da law na wo ho se plea bargain ene uwi ade a uwi SK bi 10,000 a obetimi di emu 5,000 aba negotiate na chese 5,000 aka no wafa no abusia. According to lawyer we watch say with immediate effect was NDC aban no say da law no yetwam enemanum ya wase yetimi twa da law nim na ye start prosecution yin jeli NPP criminals ne sense Akuffo we bone na omo adi no enfole other plea bargain bia abusia ensem ne the lawyer Baka vomawo aprubi egu ho papa me waste time kra na mepesem ba miako na yakwa kuti ensem no mu be na nsa na be kon me show se dwumadi unya like ya obe like share ma for sensa into me enkebi meremase.
Let's suppose that the president come in and now they say we are going to go back to tribunals.
Yeah.
What do you think the Ghana Bar Association, what would their reaction be?
So one of the things, you see what I was talking about, the courage to do things against the grain. Don't expect applause from the system that the folks that this works for.
Don't expect applause.
Yeah, don't.
Do what you have to do.
You have to do what you have to do. So this is the challenge. If you're waiting to get, and I mean, historically as well, the bar for right or wrong has always been on the right side of Ghanaian politics. Meaning that, particularly when this administration is in power, the bar becomes more vocal for historical reasons. But that's fine. The bar wants things to be done in which the ways in which lawyers have cultivated a society for themselves. The bar is not interested in the fact that there are police extortions on the road every day against ordinary citizens. What it does, it creates bar stickers for its members. So when the police see you and the bar sticker there, they say, law.
Yeah.
Then you pass. So they have carved themselves out of those social problems. So they are not the first point of call when you're thinking of socially just system that resets things. They're not going to be the one. In fact, you should expect them to fight you the way it's wrong. And when you're picking fights with them, then you know that you're on the right path. I think.
Wow, interesting. Let me pick your views on this whole concept of plea bargaining.
Yeah.
I know in the US they have plea bargaining. Yeah. They've arrested you, they've done the investigation, they know that you know the mob who are doing crime. It's okay. Are you going to testify against certain people?
Yeah.
Yes, I will. Okay, I would have given you 10 years, so now I'll give you 1.
Yeah.
Is that what plea bargaining is supposed to be? Because what we are hearing is that in Ghana, let's say you have stolen 10 goats, and the plea bargain is okay. I sold 10 goats, but I've chopped 6, so I can return 4. Yeah. Is that? Give me your views. Are these the right direction we're going?
So this is what I think. I think that there's a way in which to administer the plea bargain system that is just. And by that I mean, the current way in which it functions is that when we take a person to court, their lawyers have to write to the Attorney General and then inform the court, and the court will give them 30 days to go and negotiate. The vast majority of people that come before the criminal justice system are unrepresented. So if we made it obligatory for every Addo mansa who is charged with an offense to have a mandatory pre-bargaining system, for the Attorney General to make a proposal to them that this offense, you can go 10 years. Would you accept 5? And for which reason we don't go to court? It can free up the court system. I was hearing the Minister for Land saying that they have arrested 1,400 people in Galamsey.
When I tell you we have 1,400 arrests in 8 months, that's what it means. As opposed to 800 arrests in almost 3 years by our previous government.
If we are going to overflow the courts with those number of arrests, it's impossible to be able to deal with it. So if somebody is arrested, you can go for 7 years. We say we'll give you 3, and out of that 1,004, let's say 1,000 accept the plea and go. It means that the prosecutorial capacity must deal with only the 400. not the entirety of the 1,400. So we're having that's an arrangement in which we can mainstream it, that is automatic, that we have to consider. If the person rejects, then we go to full trial. Then secondly, we must remove economic crimes against the state from a plea bargaining arrangement. Like for instance, you can't plea bargain murder in our case now. You can't plea bargain treason. Okay? So economic crimes against the state, we can remove them from the plea bargaining arrangement. And so that those who are in this case, not only are we prosecuting you, we are bringing civil cases against you to defend your wealth and where you have gotten your wealth to. We have then the unaccountable wealth regime that we are taking that you come and justify for us and show us that you was able to acquire this through clean wealth, right? So if we have three measures coming at you, you're not even then going to say you're going to negotiate. But remind you that the danger of the plea bargaining system we have is that you don't have the corrupt elite in negotiating with themselves and deciding that, okay, this one, you bring this. I'm not even going to seek for any custodial sentence. We just agree and you go. Of course, they are going to make use of it, and they then, don't care about the larger population. So my thinking is that it's more about the reform and what we decide that it doesn't apply to than just the general idea of the plea bargain. But like we said, it exists in the US, and there's a cultural deficit that makes even the plea bargain scary, and from what a lot of people say, is the fact that we know for a fact that we can't trust our public officials to act with integrity. That's where the problem is. So that we know that when to give them that as a weapon in their hands, they misuse it. Whether it's the police prosecutor level, they tell you that come and give me money and then I can drop it down for you. Things that they are already doing without the backing of law. So that's the problem, right? Or let's say even if you had a parole system in the prisons, the prison officers will say, okay, for me to put your name inside, come and pay me money. Every attempt to implement law and create new, innovative ways to deal with a system, then our Ghanaianness takes over. Things that we have allowed to foster.
I like that. Our Ghanaianness.
Yes.
We look for loopholes.
Yes, we are constantly looking for loopholes to go against, systems that are supposed to work. So those things make it almost all the way frustrating. That if you seriously then want to implement, like we're talking about oral, then you know that, listen, there's no friends to be made. There are certain, we can take young people who will create a sense of belief in them that, you don't look at the elites, we're going to take care of you. Go, you have the backing of the Republic, of the President, this specialized unit of people. And I say young people because older folks tend to be jaded. You have done it, you're giving your due. Young people tend to be more idealistic and believing in change and all those ideas. Then at the end of the day, they can then be incentivized to want to do these things. But we must constantly also watch the watchman, right? Like nowhere in the world, you always have undercover people who are among you. You send people as agents to go and deal with Galamsey. The next thing we are hearing is that they are extorting people in Galamsey side. So you are telling me that in that unit, there's not one person whose job is to snitch on the others and who has been added without the others knowing, to be able to gather intelligence and tell them these are the officers who were doing this. We didn't have one. We don't prepare a contingency for the ways in which we expect people to misbehave. I find that, unintentional in terms of how we govern.
Based on everything you said, and the approach which looks right now as business as usual, is oral in trouble? If nothing drastic can be done in terms of what people were expecting, and it's going to go like the way it's going, is oral in trouble? Or what do you think?
No, I think that it is. The current president has 4 years. We're almost at the end of one. 3 more. Now, at the pace at which things have gone, if we were to go at that pace, then we can very well say that oral is dead.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge you have. 2, so much critical time was lost, or has been lost. So many people have dissipated wealth. People have moved money into Barbados and all kinds of things. They have changed them into gold. Our ability to track illicit wealth was already low. And now with that disadvantage of time, it means that the possibility to do this is even fleeting and perhaps lost in many respects. So that's the challenge. So the best I can say for us to do is those reforms and say that, okay, we're going to prioritize those reforms. And at this point, we are doing so in the expectation that when the next government comes, they're doing so and hitting the ground running. Our failure to hit the ground running means that we have lost a lot of momentum But like I said, I'm a perpetual optimist and believing that, we can still find our way around and get this on track.
Wow. Very, very educative indeed. I'm learning a lot. Man. Oliver.
Yeah.
Was it true that once upon a time you wanted to stage a coup? I know it's a long issue, dead issue.
But before I'm interested I do want to talk though about your influence on me.
My influence on you?
Because I've talked about this, I've written about this. I've written about this so many times. That is, I was a young boy growing up in Akuffo. And, I'm around where I lived. So many people, we all went to, public school. I was lucky enough to grow up in a family where I was constantly being forced to read. So I was a voracious reader. I was interested in politics. I was almost different from my social environment. And there were two people who were key influences on me. 3 people were key influences on me. Pr0wa ecut, Nana Akuffo, Addo, and yourself. These were persons who I felt because I've always been witty. And I haven't seen that kind of wit displayed in traditional comedy at the time. A lot of it was in Komode, Bobokala, that type. It didn't really resonate with me.
Okay, abusia inti semne mubi ene ekukuti na ma show dwumadi onya like ya be like subscribe to the channel na afin so share dwumadi no ma onu anso ensa entumi enkebi abusia lawyer baka vomawo abusia de to aso na chese oka oral team Mahama watch say Ghanaians ye disappointed in oral team essence eba NDC for a shishom concerning oral operation recover all loot no. It looks as if say NDC for affiliate promises na bushia and sama okafa oral team hono ese weni ensese kacho ti mepese mbemiako na kwakuti lawyer Oliver Nensama okafa NDC oral team.
So your stand-up comedy did resonate with me because it was cerebral. And I felt that, okay, everybody tells me I'm funny. So maybe this is the path for me. So I always looked up to you. I've always convinced myself that, that was one of the paths that I was always going to take. The next was Pr0wa ecut, journalism. His work in standing up to Rollins at the time. I felt like this is what the person ought to be doing. I remember how happy I was when he won Journalist of the Year. Rollins was losing his mind. These were things that I was growing up with. And then, of course, Akuffo Addo, the protests he led, what was talked about him, his belief in social justice. So these were my main idols, And then I grew up, and I've talked about how I've grown up disappointed in Pr0wa ecut and his flirtation.
I've read a few things. I know you've not been very thrilled with, should I say, the hype of oral?
Yeah.
And what's happening on the ground.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I sincerely believe, and from all I've said now, it leads naturally there, that the only way in which we can fix this republic comes with elite discipline. And elite discipline, particularly about those who plunder. That we must show them that the face of this country does not condone, does not accept this. And that's the only way we can stem the hemorrhage. So oral for me was the kind of messaging that spoke directly to my heart, and that belief that, persons who do this will have their comeuppance. And then we were seeing that fortune, filter away, and people then beginning to see that, well, maybe we're taking for a ride again. And there's nothing more dangerous to the Fourth Republic's own sustenance, but this belief that this is it. And how many times I've heard people say, this is the only opportunity. If we lose oral, this is it. Because people genuinely believe that for once, the political actors were speaking the language that diagnosed what the problem was. And were telling us that they were committed to doing this.
We'll launch an operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared. But let me say that the sword of accountability will cut both ways, against both past and the present government.
Now, I am not necessarily saying that as far as oral is concerned, that perhaps they were hoodwinking us or that they didn't believe it. But that perhaps they believe that they can get this done in the normal way of things, in letting the system run the way it runs. No, the system will discipline you. The system will show you that we are a system for a reason. So you have to be content-grained actions that must be taken that would allow Oro to succeed. And I haven't seen the courage shown to take those content-grained actions.
It's being approached as business as usual.
It's been approached as business as usual. I've heard, every time I've heard Attorney General speak, he's talking about, but we can't just arrest anybody. Nobody was saying that just go about and arrest anybody. We haven't seen any reform to the court system so far. Absolutely nothing. And every time I've talked about this, people said, but the Chief Justice is removed. I practice in the courts. I know that the judiciary and the way of doing of the judicial system is not just the lady at the top, right? So those reforms we haven't seen happen. In terms of if you brought a case to me as a lawyer, I might sweet talk you and making that, yes, I'm going for justice for you because I need you to pay up. But I know that when I take that case to court, I'm going to be stuck there for 5 years and you'll be frustrated in the belief that, you want to get justice done. So I knew that going into the regular court system, bringing these cases, nothing but delay. That lawyers have also devised the means of keeping the politics of the Fourth Republic alive. By that I mean, if you bring a criminal case, they devise all kinds of technicalities that can keep a case going for 7 years. And this is what happened in the previous administration. The new Attorney General comes and says, well, these cases have been going on for 8 years or 7 years, 6 years. If you could convince them, you'd have, so I discontinue. Well, know that there are also other lawyers who are waiting for you to arrest new people and take you through those 7 years as well. So we know what it is. We know the ways in which technicalities can be weaponized to stop this. And yet we did nothing about it. We know that in terms of one of the poorest aspects of our criminal justice system is the investigative system. Like take for instance a matter that happens in America and you're arrested. You have detectives. Of course, they will caution you if you're Miranda rights. Then they'll be asking you questions based on investigations they have done. If I take a client to the police station, the police bring a paper, write your statement. It's a very passive. I just tell my clients, I have nothing to say. When you have anything, I'll take you to court. So he was relying on your confession. He hasn't done any studio work, hasn't done anything. Before you're leaving, he's calling you to open be mommy. So even in written to the investigative process is persons who are still asking for rent and bribes from those they are supposed to be investigating. So it is the least effective way to catch the elites that have been involved in. So knowing this means that you are coming in when you are saying oral, that you are aware of all of these things and you are going after that. You didn't go after any of those. You just kept telling us to believe. Well, of course people will lose hope. Or people will come to believe that either you don't know what you're dealing with or you are in on it. And ultimately people will come to believe that you are in on it.
It's quite interesting you say that. Soon after the election, the policeman pulled me over, Then he came and he started a conversation. Hey, guess what you're saying, So we started talking. Then the first thing he asked me, this aura thing, do you believe it? And I said, well, I do have the hope. And I said, well, he told me, well, among us there, we think it's just one of those things, So you're hitting on a thing.
Who are supposed to be the enforcing the aura, the police and others, that within them they don't believe that you're serious, and they haven't seen it change for them. They haven't seen anything in terms of police procedures, in terms of any attitude. There's no organized unit that is dealing with this. There's nothing.
You're a lawyer. If I have come to power and I want this aura and I don't want business as usual, how constitutional or legal is it for me to say let's Akuffo establish fast-track courts, to deal with cases? I know Chachu challenged it and I said there was some illegality with it, but how free are the courts to fast-track things and to up the game on this business as usual process?
So one of the ideas that were mooted even before the NDC came into power was the idea of the public tribunals. Because one of the things that the public tribunals did was that well, first of all, they were filled mainly with non-lawyers, so who didn't have the appetite for technicalities. If you've stolen, you've stolen. You can see this is the evidence. You're not coming to say that, well, you didn't record my confession well, but did you steal it? Yes, you stole it. So the public tribunals, the NDC had talked about reviving them because they understood that we have to circumvent the rule of lawyers, not the rule of law. And so that was one of the things that they haven't done, almost a year in. Secondly, as well, you have to do law reform. There are many jurisdictions that have come to understand that first you have to reverse the burden of proof. that we have to have unaccountable wealth regime or law. That if you see a property or things that you own, that you cannot account for it by means that can be demonstrated, we will seize it. So the burden then is on you to come and establish and show us how you made that money. So we haven't seen that kind of legislation come into place, and it's used everywhere, across the world in many democracies. I was hoping that you'll have one of the ways in which the US was able to dismantle in New Jersey the Italian mafias is the RICO law, the racketeering. So that ties in everything you are doing to a wider organizational setup. So anybody who takes money, the people who are the soup all of you up. We haven't seen that happen. So even within the party structures, the RICO law can be able to dismantle some of the ways in which money is siphoned and then used to sponsor party activities and things like that. So that legislative reform also has not happened or materialized. Then, of course, even within the regular court system, yes, there has to be dedicated divisions. We can decide not to call it the fast track court because that suggests as if you're creating a new thing. And that's one of Chachu's arguments, that you can't create a new court. But we have divisions of the court. That is, we have criminal divisions. So as part of the criminal divisions, there are some that are doing the everyday go come, my wife beats me, my husband slapped me. You can't mix them up with that case. Because when you go before the judge says, well, my calendar for the whole of October and November is full. Because I have Akroma and Kodimo and all of that. So we do 1 hour cross-examination today. We wait 3 months later to do another 1 hour. Of course, 7 years will come up.
Yeah.
By the time we get to July, we have another 3 months legal vacation. We wait again. We come back again for another legal year. And that's how the system grinds, ultimately slow. So these are the purposeful things that I was hoping to see as implemented with Wara that we haven't seen happen.
Let me find this from you because you're a lawyer.
Okay, Abusia, it's just when in some course, our political highway, so to say, lawyer Oliver Pr0wa Abusia, or the plea bargain law, a munchichimu, a breya, what you say, and your law, a sefata say, and this abanwe, a so. It's say, even ose NPP criminals bonia omwadine kranha anka enfole under that plea bargain law no and so binim dia kwakoba day in day out Attorney General Dominic Ayini so da NPP criminals we so abusia me de mobesia na madam asesamaje penime ekuti semo a ekoso our political highway so aha POG Media madam ase